Hey, what's up guys, it's UG, and today I'm going to be talking about my opinion on the F1 2021 drivers lineup and the possibilities of which drivers are going to which teams, and yeah, let's go. Mercedes, there's been a lot of talks with Sebastian Vettel, George Russell, Esteban Ocon, and a couple of other drivers I've seen. I think they're a load of rubbish. I think it'll be George Russell's the only man that can replace Valtteri Bottas. He'll be a second driver for a couple of seasons, just to put himself into that team, like Alex Albon is right now, and what Carlos Sainz will be next season. Lewis will obviously stay at Mercedes. I had all this talk of him going to Ferrari, and it was always going to be a load of rubbish. Would have been good for his clothing brand. I forgot what it is. Would have been a nice bit of publicity, but I just couldn't see it happening. Couldn't see him switching to a red. George Russell, though, the reason why I picked him over Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel is pretty much age. Hamilton, obviously, I can see him going on for another 3, 4, 5 seasons, but they want this younger driver in the team. Sebastian Vettel would have been great, German driver. His age is a bit of a barrier, though. This is why I'm like kind of brushing away the Fernando Alonso rumours of him coming back. Great driver, talented and all, but we don't really want all these old drivers on the grid. We want young talent coming up and through. I feel like George Russell is perfect for that. Number 2 is Ferrari. The lineup's confirmed: Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Good lineup. Carlos Sainz will obviously be a second driver for the first couple of seasons, and then who knows, when he gets integrated into the team, maybe he'll push for championships, which I expect he wants as a Ferrari driver. He'll try and push for those championships. Leclerc, great driver, brilliant driver, absolutely amazing talent, future world champion easily if Ferrari can provide a decent car. 2020 might be a rough year for Ferrari, judging by the winter testing, but hopefully he can pull through with this 5-year contract he's got. Red Bull, I think they'll keep the same. Alex Albon had a decent half season. Verstappen's just a brilliant driver in general, great for the team. Great character as well. He'll always help with those Red Bull promotional videos. Alex Albon, once again, another young driver. There's not many options for Red Bull either, though. Pierre Gasly, I don't think will ever get back into a Red Bull. He's a good driver, but I think his time with Red Bull probably shattered his chances at Red Bull. Alex Albon, if he can secure those 6th places throughout the championship, I think he'll be stellar at Red Bull, just gaining those points. I'd say if he can get 2 or 3 podiums in 2020, he'll be absolutely blitzing as a Red Bull driver in 2021. Verstappen, I'm not sure how long his contract is, but I was watching the F1 rewinds, and he said he's got a bonus in his contract for every fastest lap he sets, so I find that quite interesting. McLaren, Daniel Ricciardo, Lando Norris obviously confirmed. Daniel Ricciardo, great character. Lando Norris, great character. Great publicity for McLaren, bringing some good sponsorships, which they were lacking when it was Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn. They were also lacking engine back then. 2021 they'll have a Mercedes, or is that 2022? I think it's 2021 they'll have a Mercedes engine, which I think Ricciardo's going to hold out for. McLaren is obviously a better team than Renault, in my opinion. Much prefer McLaren, much prefer Ricciardo being at McLaren. Top-notch driver is Daniel Ricciardo, though. If McLaren can provide a race-winning car or a podium car in 2021, Daniel Ricciardo will be all over it. Lando Norris, on the other hand, great driver, funny guy. Is he going to be fighting for podiums in Formula 1? Possibly. I don't see him doing it in any new future. No, I can see him doing it later on in his career, but not as early as Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton were getting podiums. Renault, it's my first big mix-up here. It's Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. Ocon confirmed for 2021. But what I'd do here is they'd want 2 French drivers at Renault. That would be an absolute dream. And if Alex Albon can put in a stellar 2020 season, Pierre Gasly knows he's not going to get a drive at Red Bull. So what's the point in staying in their junior team? There's no point in being in their baby team if you're not going to get to their main team. And they'll want to put younger drivers in there in the future. They don't really want another Daniel Kvyat, where he's just getting to that age where they're getting a bit too old for the junior team, but they don't want to push them out as they have nowhere to go. Renault would be a perfect team for him. French, as I've said, French teammate, good communication. There's no real reason he'd go to Renault, apart from obviously never getting a Red Bull seat again. But if he really wants to stay in that Red Bull car and go for that Red Bull, then fair enough, he'll stay at Toro Rosso or Alpha Tauri or whatever they'll be. But I can't really see him staying at Alpha for much longer. Ocon, obviously brilliant driver, still in the Mercedes driver program. I can't see him getting into a Mercedes, not with George Russell on the grid. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. He's a good driver. I'm happy he's back on the grid. Had some stellar performances in Force India. So yeah, he's pretty chill. Alfa Romeo is my first real problem I had. Kimi Raikkonen, I feel like will be off the grid next season. He's obviously getting old, and there's a few young talents coming through for Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, blah blah blah. Giovinazzi, good driver, put in a stellar 2019 season. Had a decent drive, had a few off races, but he did lead the race, I believe, in Baku. I think it was. He was leading the race for quite a while. Mick Schumacher, I feel like Ferrari would want to push him into Formula 1 quite quickly. Not because of the name. Well, that would obviously be a reason because of the name. They'd want another Schumacher back in an Italian team, in a Ferrari, realistically. But I don't quite feel like he's ready. If he puts in a great 2019 season and storms through Formula 2 like he did Formula 3, I feel like he'd be fine. But I can't see that happening just yet. I'd say give him 2 seasons and he'll be in Formula 1. Pascal Wehrlein, on the other hand, he's already been in Formula 1 with Sauber. I feel like his time was robbed there. He wasn't given a second chance when he really deserved it over Marcus Ericsson, and I think it was Charles Leclerc who replaced him. He had a good season when he was in. I can remember vividly when he got thrown into the wall at Monaco by Jenson Button. That was an incident and a half. He's had a good time in Formula E. I think he's been at the top quite a lot. The one race that I watched, he was fighting for a podium. I was like, oh, go on, man. Obviously, I don't watch Formula E very often. I don't know. There's no real attraction to Formula E for me, but I might save that for another video. Haas, they'll stay the same. Grosjean's great feedback driver. K-Mag's just a decent driver. In general, he's just a good driver. Both decent drivers. If they can get on and stop fucking tapping each other on the bloody racetrack, they'll be good. They'll be fine. Haas's longevity in the sport, though, I feel like they'll stay in the sport if there's a budget cap, which obviously quite a few of the top teams don't want. I know Ferrari agreed to the budget cap finally. I know Red Bull didn't particularly want it. I don't know how much Mercedes care. Williams is a weird one because Latifi being a paid driver, I'm not sure how long his contract's for. I didn't really look at that. But him being a paid driver, I'm not sure if they'd want to keep him if he has a bad season. If he has a bad season, then that's having an effect on the team's results, obviously. But he'll be bringing in money, which the team, realistically, Williams need very badly. So I'm not quite sure if it'll be Latifi or Stroll. The reason why I put Stroll here is you'll find out with Racing Point later, but I don't feel like he'll be at Racing Point. I can't see him at that high of a team anymore. Not with the pink Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas obviously has connection with Williams. Brilliant driver, top driver. He's getting forced out Mercedes quite unfairly, if we're real. He's been a brilliant second driver to Lewis Hamilton. He's done everything whenever he's asked. He's a quality driver. I feel bad for the guy. Australia 2019, I was like, oh, go on in Valtteri, let's get him this season. And he's just been pushed aside a little bit, which I feel like is a publicity thing by Mercedes, kind of, because Lewis Hamilton winning another championship, there's a lot of fans worldwide know Lewis Hamilton as the best driver to grace the grid, and Mercedes making Lewis Hamilton win a championship again and again, people are going to talk about it. If Valtteri Bottas wins a championship, obviously people within Formula 1 are going to talk about it, but it won't be big news. He'll be like, okay, Valtteri Bottas, who the fuck is this guy for most people? So maybe it's a publicity thing to not let Valtteri Bottas win a championship. Next one's AlphaTauri. I got kind of stumped with this one, with Gasly leaving and the young drivers obviously not having the 2020 season to show themselves. Yuki Tsunoda, I feel like could be a quality driver. They've got Sete Camara, who I feel like he's kind of old for Formula 2 now. I'm not sure how many seasons he's been in there, but ever since I've started watching Formula 2, he's been in there. Who else have they got? They've got a few other drivers that I looked at. They've got a British guy who's, I think he's doing the Japanese series, but obviously I don't think he's ready enough. I don't think any of the Red Bull young drivers are ready enough. So that's why I put Nico Hülkenberg in here. He'll be down for 1 or 2 years. His contract will be cheaper as he's had a year off. I feel like he's just a stellar midfield driver. He'll get the job done. He'll only crash if he's near a podium. A good reliable engine from Honda would be nice. Yeah, it would be good to see Hülkenberg at Alpha. Kvyat is just one of my favourite drivers, the torpedo himself. Very aggressive driving. Yeah, he'll be a good replacement if Albon has a bad season and they don't feel like Gasly's had a good enough season. I'd happily put Kvyat in that Red Bull as it is right now. He's had that podium at what race was it? Was it Hockenheim? He had his podium, 3rd place when his child was born. It's a great feeling for him. Yeah, he's a very good driver. I feel like he'd be at Alpha for quite a while. Aston Martin / Racing Point. This is where it gets a bit spicy. With the team transferring to Aston Martin and them having a Mercedes for 2020, let's be real, it's a fucking Mercedes. It'll be nice. It'll be nice to have another top team, because I feel like if Aston Martin push themselves, they can get into the top 3 as well as McLaren in 2021. So if Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull slow down for development even in the slightest, I feel like they could drop to 4th. The drivers, Sergio Perez, very good driver, very consistent, very loyal to Racing Point, Force India, Aston Martin, whatever they've been. He was good at McLaren. I don't feel like he was given enough credit at McLaren when he raced. I forgot what season it was. I think it was 2015. He raced at McLaren. Was it? No. He replaced Lewis Hamilton, didn't he? In McLaren, backing up. That doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. But yeah, he's a very, very good driver. Very underrated. Sebastian Vettel. There's not many places he can go. The teams. I'll drop my phone. The teams I could have seen him going to, Mercedes, can't. There's been talks with Sebastian Vettel and Helmut Marko recently, so that could be an alleyway for him. If Albon goes back to Toro Rosso and they chuck Kvyat or Gasly into another seat, if Gasly maybe goes to Renault and they chuck Albon back into a Toro Rosso and stick Vettel in a Ferrari, but I don't feel like Vettel would want to be that second driver to Max Verstappen that Red Bull want, because that's what was happening with Ricciardo. They were trying to transition him into more of a second driver. That's one of the reasons why he was wanting to leave, because the car was being based around Verstappen. They know if that car was championship worthy, the championship would go to Verstappen. It's the same with Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. They know that it's going to be Lewis Hamilton. With Ferrari, you now know it's going to be Charles Leclerc who's fighting for a championship. So there's always this second driver thing. First driver would obviously be Sebastian Vettel in this relationship, but I feel like he really could push for a championship here if he doesn't spin. Very, very good driver lineup. A lot of them are very good. And yeah, that's what I realistically think the driver lineups will be for 2021. Mercedes, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Ferrari, Red Bull, Albon, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Loris? Who the fuck is Loris? Lando Norris and McLaren. Renault is going to be Ocon, Gasly. Alpha is going to be Giovinazzi and I'm going to say Verline. Haas will be Roman and K-Mag. Williams will be Stroll, Bottas, Alpha, Kvyat, Hulk, and then Aston Martin / Racing Point, whatever they're going to be called, Sebastian Vettel, Sergio Perez.